What up, y'all? It's your boy Blake Anthony. Always here right here on Sports Talk49. I'm here with my brother from another mother big game, James Cannida. You guys make sure to check him out, all his content. I gotta get on more rhythm like him. He posts all the time, man. I got to keep up with his pace because man, posting and keeping content going be tough, along with the life going on with the life and stuff like that. But we're gonna talk about, he said amen. We're gonna talk about some of the Bucs moves this offseason. Of course, you know James is former college and football player, played for the Bucs, and we're just going to talk about some of the moves and some of the things that they said and some of the free agent signings. I ain't gonna keep you out here too long, but you know me, I'm always have my good points, and James always makes some solid points as well. James, what do you want to start with? You want to start with Big Mikey?
Hey, let's start with the I'm in Texas. Let's start with the biggest, the realest, the Mike Evans move, man.
Everything is big and tasty.
Yeah.
So where you want to attack this part here, James? What part of that? There's like different parts.
Man, more and more stuff is coming out, man. And shout out to the fellas at WDAE radio station there in Tampa. They've released some stuff. The audio clips of Mike saying that he needed a change. And I think that's the one part that should be addressed prior to just everything else. Because a lot of people, man, my phone's been blowing up. Oh, I know you're mad. I know your feelings. I got so many San Francisco 49er friends because I'm from the Bay Area, the California Bay Area, right? And I've got a lot of friends like, man, I know your feelings. I know you're pissed off. I know you're mad. And I'm like, no, I'm not mad. I'll say because at the end of the day, as a former professional, you have to do what's going to be best for you to get your peace of mind. As a fan, the selfish part of me, I want to see Mike Evans be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer forever from the fan standpoint of it. And if I had never played the game, I would never understand the player side of things. Mike had to do what was best for Mike. Mike had to do what he thought was going to be best for his career long term. And from the way a lot of things are sounding right now, Mike Evans was no longer super duper happy with the way things were looking in Tampa. So at that time, at this part of his career, he needed to hit that reset button and go do it somewhere else. And my hat's off to Mike Evans for being able to dictate and write his own narrative at this stage of his career. He's earned that right to be able to do that going into a year 13, a year 12. I mean, he deserves to be able to do that in his career right now. So nothing but the utmost respect for Mike Evans, man. I wish him the best.
Yeah, you touched on there. There's, like I said, there's a couple pieces. So let me do like you, talk about the first things first. You want to see Mike Evans retire a Buccaneer, but I understand the business. All the greats, even his favorite receivers, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, have all moved on to other teams. Lo and behold, he went to one of them in San Francisco. So with that being said, Mike has earned the right to do whatever he wants with his career. He's given his heart and soul to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only reason you should be mad at him is you're just mad you didn't get to see him retire playing in only one jersey. But otherwise than that, you shouldn't be mad at him. Now, the comments to the media, what do you think he's supposed to say when you come to a new franchise? What do you think he's supposed to say? They say, he's like San Francisco. He loves the way the atmosphere is and the things like that. You know how those press conferences go. They want you to big up your new team and things like that. It wasn't, and everybody just takes everything that people say as a shot. It's not always a shot.
Yeah.
Except for one thing.
I didn't take that really as a shot, Blake, because you think about it. He's always talked about how much he's admired and looked up to Jerry Rice. And like you say, transitions and changes. Jerry Rice didn't finish as a 49er.
Nope.
A lot of people don't even remember that time in Denver and in Seattle and the Raiders. Like Jerry Rice transitioned in his career as well, right? But I think that's one of those things where going able to be able to play for a storied franchise the way it is, and Tampa's writing their own story. And hopefully the chapters get a little bit better this season than they did last season, right? But Mike did a whole lot for this franchise. So for him to be able to go do something else, something somewhere else, and it's still yet to be seen what impact he's going to have there. And my whole thing is, for the people that's wishing Mike ill, man, I hope he has a horrible season. That's just grow up. Get over yourselves and just realize that change happens all the time, more often than we want it to. And, Mike is doing what's best for Mike right
who to say if Mike doesn't come back, if he doesn't perform well with the 49ers, who knows at this time. So, like I said, with Mike, it's a long part. So I said that part. The other part is, I think, in my opinion, I think outside the box, I am. I think Mike made the ultimate sacrifice for the team. Well, what do you mean by that? Mike knew if they re-sign him, it would actually hurt the team because they wouldn't be able to make certain selections. And the wide receiver was one of the deepest rooms that the Tampa Bay has. That is the thing that they actually have depth at.
Right.
These wide receivers, and with the emergence of Emeka Egbuka, you were able to move on from Mike and let Chris Godwin now be the leader of the room. That's one part of it. The other part is Glazers. I'm gonna talk to Mike Deason because I know he's really close with Brian of Glazers and see what he thinks about what I'm gonna say. And the fans. Me and James have gone in here and trolled you guys several times. Now, before I say all this has nothing to do with the Buccaneer faithful, the people who show up, who want to make experience for good for other people and have a great time at the games by rooting for your team. Yes, it's okay to get mad at them, but it can't always be negative. But that being said, San Francisco has a way better ran organization than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have a way more rich culture than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers have finally gotten stability now. They've gotten to the stability part with keeping your head coach, GM, and finally getting a quarterback on a second contract. You're starting to do the right things, but you got to keep going. Now you got to get through these rough patches with free agency and contracts and all that, and picking up players and keeping draft going and things like that, while also filling your damn stadium up because the players are noticing that the experience isn't what it should be. It's been told several times. I've voiced several times at these games that the Bucs will win, and the stadium's quiet walking around. But if the Eagles or somebody win, these people are ecstatic. That energy is not reciprocated in the home stadium of Tampa Bay. It is more exciting to go to other teams' away stadiums for a better football atmosphere than it is in your own stadium in Tampa Bay. And let me say, James grew up, you said California and you're in Texas. Mm-hmm. Two towns that are big on football. As everybody knows, I grew up in the Carolinas, big town of football. Tampa Bay is not a big town of football. And Cam Newton's also said something, I'm going to add to that. They said the NFC South is the biggest black culture area minus Tampa Bay. Carolina, Atlanta, and
New Orleans. Damn, I never thought about it like that. Never thought about it like that, man.
And I don't mean it just because black, this has to do with black. What I'm getting at is because you have no culture. There's no culture in Tampa Bay.
Well, it's a transplant city. It's a transplant city. Let's go ahead and keep it all the way transparent. And Blake, you know the story of all the players talking about that lower bowl in the stadium. Mm-hmm. When I was there for the 50th anniversary game versus the New York Jets, that shit was damn near 50-50, if not more Jet fans than Buccaneer fans. That's disturbing to me. Coming off of going off of where you just won the NFC South the year before, coming into Raymond James Stadium, and to be heckled by have your team heckled by a boatload of Jets fans. It's ridiculous. I mean, yes, I know fans travel. Certain team and bases travel. But where is it? Every home game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers seems like a road game for your home team because there's so many people that will funnel and fly in to Tampa because it's easy for them to get tickets. The New York people live there anyway. My mom is about 30 miles south of Tampa, north of Tampa. And her whole subdivision is damn near New York transplants. It's crazy as hell. All the snowbirds that have made the Tampa Bay area home now. And if the Giants or the Jets, just depending on what side of the fence they're on, come into town, they are there. They are there, like 20 tickets deep. It's crazy.
Don't even mention the Giants. It looks like New York City there when the Giants Tampa. It's basically New York City. And that's a lot of it. Everybody wanted to throw shade at Rachaad White saying that. Now that Mike's saying it, now that Jamel Dean's saying that, you go to two football towns, Pittsburgh, huge football town, culture's huge. I've been there.
Man.
I said huge.
Pittsburgh's amazing. Pittsburgh's amazing. I will go ahead and I hated playing there as a player, But going back as an adult and seeing the way things are done by that organization and what the fan base is like.
Yeah, it's a whole culture. You don't have that here. And that was the thing I said I was going to ask Mike to ask the Glazers to see like what Brian and stuff think about that. Build some type of culture. Yeah, you got the whole pirate thing and all that type of stuff, but you don't really have a football culture. When you come to Tampa Bay, you don't think football unless you're a fan of the team.
College football. Florida's more of a college football thing. Now,
Yeah.
what I do like about the whole Buccaneer, the pirate theme, you can really tie that Gasparilla aspect into it.
Right.
And that's kind of what they tried to do when the team formed, right, long time ago. But it's because of some of those Tampa diehards are no longer with us. So it changes to newer, younger people that haven't adopted that same kind of culture, like you just mentioned. There's no culture.
And that's it. And like I said, me and James ain't taking a dig at, like I said, any of you guys that's been going. That's just, there's no real at Tampa Bay. The pirate ship, yeah, that's great to see that in there. No other stadium has it. I said, but like, so there's no, like, if you go there, like, oh my God, the experience was so amazing there. The football energy, I just can't wait to go to the next one. And, you know, they don't give off a Pittsburgh vibe. They don't give off a Dallas Cowboy vibe. They don't give off things like that. Where
Green Bay vibe. But Blake,
Green Bay vibe,
not to cut you off. Any true, real Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan that sees this won't be offended by what's said, because the diehards are the diehards. Those we know those. We know there's some fans that hadn't been around except for when after Tom Brady took over. They became fans then. We also know that sometimes nowadays people are fans of players, and once certain players leave, they're no longer real fans of that team. Buccaneer faithful know what we're talking about and see the same things that we see as far as what we're talking about right now. And not to get hung up on that, because like I'll say this, 4 of the best years of my life came from the Tampa Bay area. My wife and I the other night were sitting around having a conversation. A certain song came on. I was like, hey, remember we went to this club back then after a game on a Sunday night and had a good, trust me, so many great memories from the Tampa Bay area. For me to be able to say, I'm so happy that that's the franchise that invested in me. I say that to you all the time. That's the only reason this flag is hanging up behind me. I didn't grow up a Buccaneers fan. I became one late in life. And still to this day, that's the team I'm rocking with. So trust, there's so many good things that go along with the true Tampa Bay fan base and the franchise itself. But there's ways that different things can be done to make the experience better for other people on the outside looking in. And I think that's the only point that I know that's the point I'm trying to make.
No, I understand. Like you said, Buccaneers people know exactly what you're talking about. Like I said at the beginning, before I even started talking, this is not a shot at any of you guys. I'm just pointing out things that are glaring and obvious in your. If you're hearing it from the players, they see it. Caleb and I used to talk all the time. He played for the Bucs for 7 years, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He said, bro, we played the Pittsburgh Steelers on a Monday or Thursday night game. He said we had to go silent count at home.
There's no way in God's name you have to go silent count at your home stadium. But
I can see if I can find that video somewhere where he said, bro, we had this. That was the game, where everybody was busting Gerald's balls for picking up Ben off the ground. That game, remember that one where he helped him up?
Yeah,
that was that game. They said they had to go silent count at home. That was the game Chris Conte got stiff armed. That was a huge meme everywhere. It was that same game.
Yes, it was.
That was the same game. It's just a culture thing here, and that's not something that you can. Well, that's something that can't change overnight. Because San Francisco, they said in 30 for 30s, you would always hear top tier program, top tier this, takes care of their players. And he said, and Mike said that Kittle and all those guys were trying to recruit him on top of that. And then on top of playing for a prestige, that's a prestige franchise. I don't care who's playing, that's a prestige franchise. I'm talking about like team.
It's one of the top 5 storied franchises in the NFL. Yeah. Definitely have to give it to San Francisco for that. Yep.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with wins or losses. It's just a prestige franchise. And they've built that culture off of that. Tampa, yes, it's a small market, but you can make your own identity being that small market, whatever it is, and you just keep that identity going. Obviously,
Right.
for old heads and the sombrero and things like that, you got to target these new kids. You got to see the things that what they want. While the guys like myself and James, middle-aged people, can still latch onto and get with. They got to find ways to build the culture here because you're seeing several players saying the same, 3 players saying the same thing about the culture in that stadium and the fan support. I got nothing. I ain't gonna beat that into the ground.
Yeah, I don't come on here and think this is a Tampa Barrett and Buccaneer fans. We really are here to talk about the moves Mike Evans has won and the additions. Blake, was there anything else on the Mike Evans departure that you were thinking about?
That was it. Looking forward to him, rooting for him. Like I said, I was born in Alaska. I grew up watching the Niners, so I'm very familiar with that franchise and the prestige of it.
God bless you.
Yeah, I know, right? So I grew up watching the Montana and the Steve Young era, so I know about the prestige of that franchise. Yes, it'll be weird seeing Mike in another uniform, but I'll be rooting for him, man. I got nothing negative to say. The guy, he did everything the right way, and he wants to be selfish one time. He's earned the right to do so, and I will support it.
And is it really selfish? Is it really selfish? Because this game is short-lived. Like, yes, he's in double-digit years, but still, think about Mike Evans' age when will totally be done playing. It's short-lived, and at the end of the day, you gotta do. Like I said, I'm always gonna bring it to you from a player. You cannot sit back and never wonder and think, what are the fans gonna think of me? And that's what some people's like. I have some people hit me up, James. He's never leaving. You know what he does for the community? And guess what? He will continue to do for that community.
Won't change
because it means something to him. Now he's just gonna do it from afar. And his foundation can still do the things they've been doing because he's already got other people running that and doing that, right? So that's not going to change. And I think that so many people had a blind eye thinking that, he owes us this. No NFL player owes any fan anything when it comes to making a personal decision that's best for his family. Now, do they deserve to give you their best effort? Maximum effort all the time? Yes. Oh, hell yes. But when it comes to making a personal decision and how it's going to impact you and your family, you make that decision, you have peace with it, and you move on. And so I know that's what Mike Evans did. God bless. Mike is going to be great,
man. Yeah. I'm with you 100% on that. It's just, Mike, that's a huge one. It's a franchise stapler right there. It's a huge one. But it happens to everybody. It's Bucs' turn to deal with it. It happens to every team everywhere, and that type of thing happens. It's just their turn this time. Moving on. Free agent signings. Which one do you like? Which one you don't like? Or like, what do you think? And part of these free agent signings come on the hands of Mike Evans not being on the roster anymore. But I'll add before you say that.
No, I mean, I think the moves they made were going to be done with or without Mike on the roster. I mean, you look at the pieces that they brought in so far. I did a short piece on it yesterday about Buccaneer signing, and does it look like the franchise is trying to get better, or did they just totally give up? And I don't think they gave up. I think they're doing what money's going to let them do. This is my thing. They're going to have to hit a home run in the draft, and we might be able to touch on that later. But Anzalone, I'm not upset with. He's not a bad football player. Bargain price. Came to Tampa for a bit cheaper than what the Falcons offered him. It's rumored now that he could have got a 3-year, $20-something million deal, took the $17 million deal to come to Tampa. They said he's a Florida guy, want to be back in Florida. I think that's good. I think he fits the defense. And I think that's a lot of things that you have to realize when you're looking at the people coming in. So many people still like, once Max Crosby's deal fell through, we got to go get him. You and I both said a long time ago that wasn't going to be the best fit or best deal. And if the if the knee is what Baltimore's trying to sell it to be, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. The one move I like a lot, and I don't know if I'm jumping around too much for you, is the Muhammad deal. He was that guy opposite Aiden Hutchinson last year. So with Yaya having 7, and if he's getting better at his pass rush like he said he's been working on, I think you put both of those there, not account for what you might be able to address and get in the draft, depending on what falls at 15. I think you have to like the signing of Muhammad because he showed that he has the ability to get after the quarterback. I mean, 11 sacks last year, over 55 pressures. He knows how to apply pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's something that is needed in that locker room.
Absolutely. I think you sign Anzalone as a veteran leadership to quarterback the defense. If Levante, I think with the picks that the free agent signings, they kind of took some pressure off of not being like 100% stressed to draft at that spot. You got Anzalone. You still have Zavarcier Dennis in case if David doesn't come back. I think David is coming back, in my opinion. I haven't talked to Ron yet. I know Ron was on with T-Crass, and I know Ron, he's not going to give you everything. He's just going to say the same thing as he always told me. If his body's able to do it, he will play. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want him back, that will always be his hope. Kenneth Gainwell, you did have to get another running back. I'm glad. I wanted them to keep Tucker, which I think they did. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they brought him back because Tucker.
I thought they had Tucker on a 1 year coming.
Yeah, I want to see dude get a spin for real now, because pretty much Gainwell and Bucky are the same player, 1A, 1B, with that kind of skill set that they have.
Yeah, and Bucky took too much of a pounding last year. It's got to be more of a shift in how they do that with the running backs to make it where you don't hamper his career, shorten his career or his season even. I won't even go career, but let's not shorten his season because of how we do things. It's got to be a little bit more intentional on how they do things.
Yeah, I mean, you said this all year. I said, well, it's not a slight on Bucky. He is not a guy that can take him in between the tackles for 25 carries a game for 17 weeks. You saw what happened after that Eagle game. He got pounded and he was out for 7 weeks. And I think he had some mental issues too, because that was like his first major injury. And dealing with some issues over it, but it's whatever. He bounced back. I don't think Rachaad kind of used him in the fourth quarter of games either after when he came back either, but that's a conversation for another time. You talking about the edge rusher? Yes, I said a while back, I said the Bucs probably need to find another Shaq Barrett type of player to save money. A guy coming off a team who had production and can make some money for himself if he plays well. Now, the difference is if Muhammad comes out and plays, don't sit up here and try to give him $30 million a year if he sets the 20 sacks or something like that and set yourself back again. Do not make that mistake again, because when you gave Shaq Barrett that money after that, the play was not the same after the pay. And that's not a slight of Shaq. I really do like Shaq Barrett as a person and as a player. But we can't just try to keep forcing money to people to try to keep them here, and the fire doesn't stay the same from one year to the other. You know, James, everything, production, everything is not always the same. That's why the guys that do it are special, like Aaron Donalds and things like that. Those guys are special that can continue to do that year in and year out. I'm going to try to get Gainwell on here. Some real good connections with him. He also is the cousin of Fletcher Cox. I'll let you know, Jam. I'll try to get you on with him. Try to get you on one of these guys one of these times. Okay. I'm working on that right now, actually. Anzalone. There's another one. Oh, Ashawn Robinson. He's a good friend of Caleb. I'm probably having him on here.
I like the song, because think about the impact he had when the Rams won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, right? When he was in LA when that happened. Went to ended up in Carolina past season. Was more of a cap casualty because of what he was owed. They had to make room for him. I've liked this guy ever since he was at the University of Alabama. I like what he does. 1 year, $10 million. A lot of people say that's steep, but that's just what the market is right now and what they're paying, for veterans of his caliber. It's not the biggest of deals. Some people say there's a little bit of a reach, and I can see where that measure is, but at the same time, I think it changes where you don't have to rely so much on Vita. Or if you ever put them both in and change the alignments up sometimes, with Kalijah Cansey being in and out of the lineup so much, it gives you a little bit more depth right there in the middle to apply that pressure and versatility. So I like the Ashawn Robinson signing from that standpoint, and that's if he can come be productive. And, he was pretty productive last year with his time in Carolina. So I think, you get somebody that's in the division, that's played in the division, knows it, and he can help you a little bit when it comes time to play against the Carolina Panthers.
Absolutely. And he has great attitude. You heard him. He talking about what he say. You want to beat people's ass all the time. Like, you want to hear that. and your press conferences with your defensive lineman.
Yep.
A tone setter. And you touched on Vita Vea, a thing nobody's talking about right now. Vita Vea has 1 year left on his contract. Where do you go after that? Being in salary cap. Baker Mayfield, 1 year left on his contract. Are you going to fork over the $40-50 million to keep him? I think they got to get a quarterback too, but we won't talk about that draft stuff. You got to some point looking in the future to save money, those free 5 years at the quarterback position. But Ashawn, definitely plugs in, got an attitude. You have some depth and some rotation. You picked up Elijah Roberts last year at SMU. The question is health, man. Stay healthy. That's really.
And Walker, who tore his ACL and
on the edge
started for edge, and I still think Walker was that diamond in the rough. That can be that diamond in the rough player that they got, but never did get a chance to play because it got hurt. So let's see how he rehabs or how he comes back. Interesting to see, but the Buccaneers have got to be able to find something travel because there's still a couple of notable free agents. Now, this is a name I said I was going to bring up to you. Well, the rumor is now he's going to San Francisco to play with his brother, but the name Joey Bosa was out there for a while, and also Khalil Mack's name was out there for a while. What do you feel about both of those guys?
I like both of them. Great veteran. The only reason you would do that is because if they pick them up, you're not drafting an edge rusher in the draft early. That'll tell you right there that they're not doing it. That's the only thing. I'm not mad at it. You can get something else if you feel comfortable picking up one of those two. And that means edge isn't your priority in the draft. So does it move to middle linebacker? Does it move to another offensive piece? The Bucs would tend to load up on offense with the top picks.
The name Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, keeps coming up, but I think he's going to be gone before 15 anyway.
I don't know. He reminds me of what's the name the Giants drafted years ago. Same player played in Jackson.
Ingram.
Ingram. It's the same player.
You think so?
Yeah, it's just it'd be a little faster, but Ingram was fast as hell when he came out too. You know what I mean? Little guy, really fast. We'll see how he pans out in the league. The Bucs have a fast tight end already on the roster, and Devin Colt that they don't use. They re-signed Otten. You brought back Cokeet. I think they have their speed guy at tight end. He just doesn't get used, but we'll see what the new offensive coordinator brings in.
Right.
I think that was the other minor signings. The safety out of Pittsburgh.
You got Killebrew, which I think is a special teams move, and then quarterback Jake Browning, which
don't like it.
I don't know if there's anybody at quarterback thing that's just gonna make you blow your socks off. Now I know you've had some talks about trade for Anthony Richardson. What's the Colts asking price on that?
Day 3 picks. So that's 5, 6, and 7.
I would dabble. I wouldn't be against that for a 5th or 6th. Not both, but for one or the other, and maybe a 5th for this year and the 6th for the following year, maybe because it would be interesting to see.
It would say you got to start thinking about actual quality backup behind Baker Mayfield because I've said 1,000 times. You can be mad at me, Bucs fans, but it's the truth. His biggest enemy is himself and staying healthy. You can't be lowering your shoulder to linebackers and screwing yourself up. And you can't do it. Shoulder checking corners going out of bounds. You can't do it. You have 17 weeks, man. You got to protect your body. You got to protect your body. You got to stop doing it. Unless it's to get a big play or first down, then I understand it. But just running out of bounds and just scrambling and doing it, you can't do it anymore. You can't do it anymore.
It's okay to slide sometimes. It's okay to slide. I got you.
I'm sure Bowles said that 1,000 times to him, and it hurt his play last year. He can't drive the ball. He's hurt. He's banged up. And the other one when he's getting sacked, the twisting around and stuff like that. Just go.
Yeah, sometimes you have to take the sack. Sometimes you have to take it. Yeah, agreed.
Those are the two things. But otherwise than that, when he's healthy, he was balling out. Where was we going with this?
We talk about all the picks. What was
Yeah, it's going to be hard. You know how the draft goes. It's going to be opportunity. Do they trade back? Do they not trade back? Do you get Sonny Styles? It kind of fits an Isaiah Simmons type of player, a hybrid kind of player that Bowles can use.
Yeah.
Very fast, very big guy with 6'4", 250 size and speed. Very rare to have.
Mm-hmm.
Can the production transfer over into the leagues? And Bowles could use them. Speaking of Bowles and things like that, my man Blake had a great interview with Sheldon Quarles. And Sheldon had a lot of things to say regarding Todd Bowles and why the Bucs like him. Shannon's the head of football operations for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as most people would kind of say no. And he had a lot of things to say. I think you should hear, James. I was going to put the video up, but I'll just play the audio. Where do I got it? There it is. Here we go.
The most intelligent person from a defensive perspective. Like, we've had multiple injuries over the course of seasons with him, but he makes sure he gets the guys that we have available to play that game in their right positions to be the best person that they can be.
Yeah.
He won't call defenses with people that aren't available to carry out what he wants to do.
Right.
Like, he's unbelievable. Like, so I enjoy the conversations that we have. It else gets in. So just stick with him, believe in him, trust in what he's doing, trust in what he's building, and he's unbelievable in regards to football knowledge and as well as our general manager Jason White.
So
What's your thoughts, James?
I know Sheldon Quarles. Good relationship with him when we played. Good conversation with him when I was back in town a couple times this year. And I don't think he's just giving you fluff from what people want to hear. I think that Todd Bowles is held in higher regards than with the front office than with the fan base. So I think that's why so many fans keep going, why is he getting so many chances? Why is he doing this? Why do we keep him? Why don't we get rid of him? To where they think there's like a genie in a bottle fix. You look at many of these coaches were on a chopping block last year that all came in, that were all supposed to change things and get things done, and they didn't. Now, I myself even said I had a moment where I say Todd Bowles has to be on the hot seat because some different things has to be done. But at the same time, I also believe that some of the older players there's starting to be just a little bit of a disconnect. And I think that's common in some locker rooms, no matter who your leader is. So I say it like this, and I'm not trying to find an easy way out and give the most politically correct answer. Let's see what this season entails and how things are going to go down and what's going to happen before we, pass too much judgment on or try to make it. He's just saying that, he doesn't mean it. I think he does mean what he just said in that interview.
Absolutely, and I know everybody is on the Todd Bowles hating train. They would eat this up like Sunday dinner. If it was saying all bad things about Todd Bowles, they would eat it up. But when they say stuff that they don't want to hear, they tend to ignore it. Like I said, he's been working in football operations for a long time, so he makes some decisions within that organization. Tends to know what he's talking about. He was there for the Brady run, so these guys tend to know what they're talking about when they building the team. So, like I said, a lot of players say it all the time. He has a personality, he just doesn't show it with the media. A lot of players have said that.
But look at Belichick. Belichick didn't have a media personality, and players didn't just hate him. He hated the media. I mean, you don't have to like the media. You have to talk to them because that's in your contract and part of your job. But you don't have to like them. You don't have to be who you are with your players and be that same person with the media. I get it.
Yep. Yeah, and you have you don't always got to put everything. Somebody put a good post. People, they have different things to say about you, depending on. It doesn't matter what personality he has. If you're Todd Bowles to, why am I slipping his name right now? Lions head coach with a big personality like that.
Oh, Campbell, Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell. They don't care. They just care about wins and losses. So
yeah,
it really doesn't matter. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Because Detroit stumbles again the next couple of years, you best believe the Lion faithful are going to want him gone. And think about where that franchise was before Dan Campbell got there. It took over.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
people want instant success and instant gratification. It's the iPad kids. And these iPad kids are now iPad parents. They want the same instant success. And it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, now it's something that's been broken for a long time. It's just like Cleveland. It's like it's something that's been broken for a long time, and it can't just be fixed overnight like that. It's got to stem within getting the guys in the right mindset and keeping that going. That's hard enough as it is to keep that going with grown men and adults with paychecks and aspirations and things like that. It's hard to do, but that's what you got to do. And if you can have a guy who wants to continuously do that and keep this team moving in a positive direction, and that's the guy you want to build the building and to keep on changing year in, year out, because it doesn't work doing that.
Right.
I think that we hit on pretty much everything, Jim. Unless I missed something, we talked about.
I think we hit on everything we want to talk to. You know, we got to come back and bring the people some draft stuff later on, getting closer to the draft. We definitely need to do that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on here, being able to chop it up and talk Buccaneers, dog. I love it.
Yeah, just talk football, period. I love it. Like I said, we could talk any team, but Bucs, we'll talk. That's the talk of the town right now. And that's what we'll talk about. See how they're going. I mean, do you think that they're going to be in the right direction to move this team forward this year, James? I know you can't judge it just on these moves alone. They weren't wow factors and things like that. We're going to look into the draft, but do you think that they're moving in the right direction, even post Mike Evans? Do you think they have a real shot to do something this year?
I think the receiver room is going to be good because we said last year that it's probably the best wide receiver room in football. You take Mike Evans away, you can't just replace him. But I feel good with someone like Emeka Ibuka, and you give me a healthy Jalen McMillan to go along with Chris Godwin as well. And then Tez Johnson did some good things last year. And I think he will continue to build. So I like that room. The offensive line, how is that going to transpire? What's it going to do? I think there's a lot of questions still to be asked. The one thing that scares me is I believe this division is getting better, slowly and surely, team by team.
Did anybody get better at quarterback?
Yeah, that's still left to be said. But I think on the other side of the book, okay, if that's the case, Blake, we just talked about our quarterback being the gambler he is. If he doesn't improve his play and he evens the playing field, that leaves the door open for everybody else, right?
Yeah.
I think when I say people getting better, I think the Saints adding ETN was a big move for them in their run game with Kamara being hurt. We'll see what they do receiver-wise. Yeah, the quarterback position, I think, in this division. But don't discount the Carolina Panthers because they did look better in certain games last year. So time will tell. I'm really holding everything on my holster until I see what this draft looks like. And I still believe that there are going to be some more free agent moves after the draft because that June 1 cap casualty is going to come for some people. And some teams are going to want to see how they address the draft. You know, they can get their pieces in the draft and then go back to free agency after that. So, I still think it's kind of early to tell, but Gainwell not being doing what he did last year in Pittsburgh, he surprised people there. So I think that he's a good addition. But how much more are they going to rely on Texas? We know that Zach Robinson coming in is a little bit different with this run game. Mm-hmm. We know that the tight end is really big in his offense, right? Does Otten fit that same mold like he had in Kyle Pitts? No. Or will Cup get more play this year because of Zach Robinson and his tight end usage? So it's going to be interesting to see, man, how this whole thing plays out, bro. It really is. I hate doing this. I hate doing this. Most people have given the Buccaneers a B to B minus grade in free agency. And I just can't put a grade on it yet because I got to see how they all fit into the scheme and what it transitions to on the field. Jamel Dean being gone. So does this make Tyke Smith's role a lot different? And is Elijah Parrish and Ben Morrison really going to be healthy this year to contribute the way we thought they would as rookies?
Yep, there'll be more on their plate. Teams will be scheming for them. Things change.
Yeah.
That's why people be like, oh, well, it's next year. I'm like, everything's not transparent from year to year. People get a year older. People get the contract expired. Things change year in, year out. Things aren't always the same. Yeah, you make some solid points. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of offseason left to be had. And then you catch the undrafted guys, too. A lot of those guys fill out stories, too. When we pick up. James, tell everybody where they can find your stuff at.
Man, it's former Buccaneers defensive tackle James Cannida, and you can catch me on my sports network, BGSE Network, where we run Big Game Sports Buzz, full live videos every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Time. And you can catch the clips on Big Game Sports Buzz. That's on YouTube, Facebook, and IG.
Yep, make sure to check it out. James is just like the same stuff, puts reels out, has his co-host on his show. Great content from a player's mind and a fan's perspective. Sometimes it's always hard to switch back and forth, but it makes it fun because you have different hats you can wear in conversations. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm sure there'll be more to come out. More news will be around to talk about it. And me and James will be out there to put it out there for you guys to check out. And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything what you do with your life. But you do this entirely up to you. See you guys next time. Peace.